Hello, good morning, afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this edition of Cross's Corner. I'm Martin Cross, delighted to be with you and absolutely excited to have a great guest for you today. Max Planner, German double world champion from the men's eight, Olympian, now business coach, life coach, and an extraordinary history. Welcome to Cross's Corner, Max.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here, Martin.
Brilliant. So perhaps we can start a little bit by talking about how your life has gone since you stopped rowing and how that's been for you.
hmm So first of all, right after I stopped drawing, I moved to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, together with my girlfriend because she works here and for a big sports company also. And that's I had to commit to move wherever she is. Because I just wanted to. The last years, of course, were challenging. Before she lived in Berlin, I lived in Dortmund. She visited me all the time. I couldn't barely visit her because of all the training. So we immediately moved to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, and the first months were quite challenging for me. Also mentally, I wanted to explore, I wanted to be free, but it wasn't also so easy to let go of everything, and also letting go of the structure the day or the week has. That was quite new for me after 16 years, and so the first months were challenging, but right now I feel very good. I stepped into my new field, where I really explore myself, develop. I do coaching now. I help people, get free of mental blockages, reach their goals on a healthy way, and that's my new passion after rowing, and I
Wow.
really like it. So yeah.
So looking at the way that you came out around, did you always know that that the Tokyo Olympics was going to be, or that your attempt to make the Tokyo Olympics, that was going to be your last year in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't ever know, but so the years before were so challenging, like with the kidney failure in 2020 after ERG test in January. I almost I thought, okay, that's it now. So I was like, okay, I just want to be healthy, and that's fine. I'm thankful for my career, and I'm good. And then I processed very well, also mentally, also physically. And a few weeks later, the doctors told me, okay, Max, you can try to get back. And then after 3 weeks, I already started to train again. And then up and down. I was a spare at first. I came to the training camps with the team, and then of course the whole season except from Olympics got canceled first. Then I was kicked out again, and then I thought the second time, okay, that's over, because I already felt that I wouldn't have the power to do another cycle. I was done. I'm mentally, I'm really happy with my career. I knew, okay, also physically, I couldn't really, develop that much from that point on. So I knew, okay, maybe if the Olympics, also get postponed, then maybe there's another chance. But for 98%, I was knowing that it's over. And
Yeah.
then the Olympics got postponed. At first, I thought it's over, and then a couple of weeks later, where I was just starting to train for myself, going a lot of cycling, going for weights, didn't really row. And then Uwe Bender called me and said, Max, we have a few free spots now in the team because some people retired, some people are injured. You have to come back and train with us one more year and try to get your spot for the Olympics. And of course, when he called me, I was like, okay, I have to think about it. But like, if he would have called me a few weeks before, I probably would have said no. But in that moment, I was quite in a shape to say, okay, one more
Yeah.
year, I will try. Um, I didn't know that this would gonna be such a long year, because it really, was really a long year, especially with COVID, everything. Then the European Championships in fall, then lot of training just in Dortmund. So it was mentally quite tough. But there I almost knew that after the Olympics, or even after the qualification, I'm finished.
And so I was just interested there. Kidney failure after an erg test. I've not heard of that before. Can you just explain what happened to you?
Yeah, now I laugh, but that moment, of course, it was not so nice. Um, yeah, it was. Yeah, I also at that erg test, I thought it's gonna be maybe my last erg test, so I will go all in and I will try my very best to get a PB. My last PB was 2014. Yeah, I think so. So long.
556.
Yeah. It was a long, long, long time ago, and I thought, okay, I'm in good shape. I try my best, and then I, yeah, I went a little bit too fast on the first 1,000, so you can say, like way faster even than I wanted, and I still felt good. In the end, I had to, I was struggling a bit. Like it was like 5:58 or 5:59, so the time was still okay.
Yeah.
But the way the effort I had to put in because I started so fast was way more than usual, and I had 27 millimole of I don't know how to say.
27
Yeah,
of
yeah.
lactate.
Yes. So I really went into the pain cave.
27. Ha!
Yeah. And then I mean, even like I thought, oh, 27. I was like a little bit afterwards. I was also a little maybe if I would have not so pushed it not so hard in the first 500, um, would have maybe been a better time. But I knew immediately I did my best. But yeah, the hours after I felt bad, and I almost felt like I had did so many erg tests in my career, and of course you feel bad after an erg
Yeah,
test.
yeah, yeah.
But this was different. And I tried to drink, I tried to eat, but yeah, it went worse and worse and worse. And then I went to the hospital. They made checks, and finally they found out, that my kidneys just stopped to work because they were like kind of I don't know how to say that in English, but there was so many stuff in my blood which
Yeah, 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 yeah.
should go out, and the kidneys couldn't handle it anymore. And then they stopped to work, and I was basically poisoning myself. So and the doctors, like when they found out, immediately gave me a transfusion and everything. And I had
Did
to stay at the hospital for 7 days. It was a
did
long
it scare
process.
you?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit. Also, I think my loved ones, they was more scared than me. Like my
Yeah, yeah.
girlfriend, my parents just came the day after to visit me. A lot of friends came to visit me, but I was kind of in peace. I don't know why. Maybe I was because I thought, okay, I did my best. I just want to be healthy. I didn't like. I immediately switched my mind to, okay, now get well, and everything else is doesn't matter. And I also saw it directly as a challenge, for myself, for all the inner work I did before. I did a lot of meditation before, I did a lot of inner work, also to become mentally stronger. And I immediately saw that situation as a challenge,
Ah,
as a challenge to prove how mentally strong I am, and how much equanimity I have in such a moment. And that really, really, really helped me. Like that mindset
wow.
really helped me to get over it quite soon. But I mean, my girlfriend, when she came, she was at the I don't know, she worked, and she was for a working trip in Munich, and then
Yeah.
had to ask her boss if she can come, and then she came and everything. So it was quite, and I was on a intensive care at that point still, and she was
Oh,
very, very
wow.
scared, and she came like, Max, what did you do, and everything. So yeah, it was not easy, but I managed it quite well, I would say.
So you mentioned meditation. Do you still meditate now? And did
Yes,
you
yes.
what? How did what impact has that had on your life?
Ah, very big impact, almost as big as rowing.
Wow.
So, I mean, rowing had the biggest impact in my life, of course. But in the last years, I developed like, I got more and more into it. So basically, it started after Rio, because I felt quite bad after our 12th place there. I was in a kind of depressed state, and my yeah, one of my very best friends now, Carsten Hoffmann, who's the head physiotherapist of the German national
Mm.
team. He worked with me there with stuff like that. And I didn't know what he was doing, but it was helping.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he brought me more and more into that topic. So I asked him a lot about it because he's very, very experienced with all that kind of stuff. And he brought me more and more into it. And I more and more got the sense how it helps me. So I did it for a few weeks, then I did it a few weeks not, and then I did it again. And then there was the sense of, okay, if I'm not doing it, I feel that there's something missing. And
Ah.
now I got more into it, and also especially now after retiring. I mean, it already helped me also for the competitions. I have to say, like for
Yeah.
example in Plovdiv, when we had 5 days before the between the heat and the final, it was a very very long time to keep the
Yeah.
to keep the focus, and even not be too overwhelmed, but keep a good steady focus. And I meditated every day like 2 or 3 times to stay in that focus, and it really really helped me for my performance as well. But right now after retiring, it also helped me with letting go of rowing, letting go of yeah my former self, so to say. And I
Yeah.
was also actually I was in England in February to do a 10-day meditation course. Vipassana
Wow.
is it called?
Yeah.
And I was in a meditation center there, and I also visited a few people in Oxford before. I went to Oxford, and then from there to the meditation course. It was fun. It was nice to see the rowing community before, and then I went there and I had a 10-day course of 10 hours meditation a day. So it was
Wow.
was tough. Was a new challenge, but I
Yeah.
wanted to have this mental challenge. And yeah, this inner work is also something I explored. I mean, in rowing, we compete against others, we have fun, we try our best, we want to win and everything. But there's a different level. There's the level of the inner process. You know, you face the real, you. I mean, the real competition is going inside your own mind, and that's what always interested me also when I was rowing, to even become better at this process. That's why probably I also beat myself up at the work test so much. But yeah, this inner process goes on now and on and on. And I really like to work on that, and also work with that on with my clients, because yeah, of course they are also wanting to explore themselves, and letting go of old beliefs, for example. And
Do you
meditation helps for that.
do you know where that comes from? That desire to look inside you and to explore your inner self and to try and understand that, because it's something that I guess human beings have, but when I look at people that row, they don't have. There aren't many that have that same desire.
Mm, That's a very good question. I think I already started to have this desire when I was a child. Like even before
Ah,
I started with rowing, I was questioning a lot of things about life. You know, why am I here? What am I doing? What can I do with my life and everything? So I questioned a lot in that time. But of course, then you have a few years where you don't ask yourself the questions. Then you lose the sense for it, and then again it comes back. And with rowing, it was like immediately when I was started rowing the first years, and when I went to Dortmund to the boarding school, do my yeah with 14 years before I started to like I trained 2 or 3 times a week, and then I started to train every day. So it was the first high performance level, and immediately I knew, oh Max, you're not the most talented guy here. You're tall, but your technique is not so good. Your endurance is not so good. Your yeah, like your numbers in the weight room are also not good. So you have to work on that to become. You know,
ah,
already knew that this is something I need to yeah to be in shape, or like to yeah be able to compete on the same level like the others. So I already like had the sense of that. And yeah, so that was the first years were all about getting mentally stronger, and then the rest came. So it worked for me personally.
that's really interesting because we need our mental strength, obviously, when things don't go well for us, and also to help
Absolutely.
things go right. And you've had in your career, you've had quite a few ups and downs,
Ups
and
and downs,
and
yeah.
I was kind of looking when you first started. Is it right you won 2 junior gold medals?
Yes, yes,
Which I thought, and you stroked the quad in one of
yes,
those.
yes.
It's like I thought, what is he doing stroking the quad? Uh, so you
Yeah,
you you had that junior success,
yes,
and which I guess helped motivate you to carry through to under 23s,
absolutely. Yes,
and then
that definitely helped me.
I remember looking and being surprised because I couldn't remember you were in the eight in 2014.
Yes.
Because I thought the first year you were in the eight was 2017, but they put you in the eight and then not in 2015. So you obviously had the feeling of being in the eight that first year and then not being in the eight. So what was that like, and how did you cope with that?
Yes, that was a very hard challenge. I mean, in 2014, of course, I was very happy to be in eight. It was my, yeah, like after 2013, first year in the men's sweep team in the four, then in the eight. I was, yeah, of course, very happy about it. But then the World Championships came, and I don't know if you remember where I'm now, like a few kilometers from where I'm sitting now in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
And
the
there
boss
were
man.
some, yeah, at the Bosbahn, and the wind conditions were not really fair on that day,
Yeah,
unfortunately. So we were in a very good shape, but we didn't have one of the good lanes, and then we still finished second, which was still quite good and my first world
yeah,
championship
yeah.
medal. But there was, of course, a huge disappointment in the team. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, we got betrayed because of the unfair wind condition. Blah blah blah. And of course, also some of the guys, and also, of course, also the coach who already have been Olympic champions. They were, of course, not. Yeah, they were, of course, disappointed. So it was kind of not an easy situation. And what I then later, a few years later, got to know was that the coach at that time, yeah, kind of gave Felix Wimberger and me kind of like I don't know, he said that we were kind of yeah, it was because of us.
You're joking.
Yeah, no, I don't joke. I mean, now I retired. I can say that now because I don't care. But I
Yeah.
heard it from my other coach. My other coach told it to me, and of course, we were disappointed to hear that. Um, Even though, nevertheless, and we tried our best always to get in the eight. Also, 2015 and also 2016 and 2015, we became fourth at the trials. Had still a good erg test. So
That was your personal best on the ergo in 2014.
yes, yes,
Oh,
yes. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
2015 also like fourth in the pair, good erg test and everything. And yeah, and then the coach said, "Oh, my gut feeling says you're out." Okay, then I had to say, "Okay, your gut feeling says I'm out." I was of course not happy with it, but yes, as you say, mentally I had to find the right together with Felix we were a good team with that. Like we both were like really struggling with it, but
Yeah,
after a
yeah.
few days really we said, okay, if it's like that, it's like that. We can change it. Like, I mean, you can for weeks or months you can be unhappy about it, or you can just say, okay, that's it. We move on. We try our best in the four. We make the four go very fast, and that's what we did in that year. So it was challenging because Felix and I we were always in the gap between the four and the eight. It was always like up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, also it made it kind of exciting. Yeah, so in the end, it's fine. Like it was part of my career. I'm still so happy that I have two world championship gold medals, one silver medal, a few European championship gold medals, world record in the eight. So I can't
Yeah.
complain. Of course, I would be very happy if I'd won an Olympic medal, but yeah, I'm absolutely fine how it went. And when I started my career, I would have never imagined to yeah
Really.
such a success. So yeah, all is fine. But it
So
was tough in that time, of course. Yeah,
so one of the things that's always striking, I think, about German rowing, is there is a gap between, maybe understandably, a gap between the performance of the eight and the performance of the four.
absolutely.
And I've yet to kind of understand that. but I guess in the 2015 World Championships, your four performed really quite well.
Yes, yes, we were
That
fifth in that year with a very
yeah,
young four. Yeah.
that was a really great race. I think it was a good semi-final to get into the final too. I think
Exactly, exactly. One of my best races ever.
was it.
Yes, yes. It was amazing. Like we got wings. Like we were behind 500 meters before the finish line. We were fifth or something. And then we made this finish sprint. Nobody looked out of the boat. Everybody was just focused and everybody was, yeah, just getting into the cave. And then, yeah, nobody knew which place we finished when we were on the line. And then we saw it on the side. And yeah, it was, yeah, such a great race.
Wow. And so you are. I know you were disappointed with Rio Olympics and your result. I mean, did you have? Were you able to enjoy being an Olympian at all, or was that?
It was hard. I'm
Yeah.
honest. Um, of course, there were moments I was like, wow, I'm at the Olympics, how cool. But yeah. So if you ask me, the Olympic Games are more like negatively in my mind than positively. So
Oh, really?
and yeah, but that's it. I mean, I learned so much from that event. And of course, it also has to do, I think, with the expectations. Like I had so big expectations. Oh my God, going to the Olympics was my goal for my life. Then
Yeah.
I was there, and like, of course, the performance on one side, but on the other side, also like the organization and everything in Rio, yeah, was not the best, to be
Yeah.
honest. So that also played a role, I think. So you can always, yeah, expectations are never good, but in sports you always have expectations, of course.
Yeah. 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 So, so I guess you had a different motivation coming after Rio because I think you had a change in coach. So
Exactly.
Holtmeyer stepped aside and Uwe
Yes.
Bender came in. And
Yes.
how much was that to your advantage?
Um, yeah, obviously it was to my advantage.
And to Felix too, as well, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, at first of all, after Olympics, I was also kind of, yeah, after 2016, I was also kind of in a depressed state, and I didn't know if I would go on or if I would retire. But then I had a few weeks off. Then I was at the like kind of a course of the German army because I was in the German sports funding of the army,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah,
there I did like a trainer course for different kind of sports. So I was just doing different kind of sports with a lot of people there. Also athletes from other sports, like for example, swimmers, divers, weightlifters, and like I got to know some other people, and we did sports the whole day there, just not rowing, but everything
yeah.
else. And there I got, yeah, I got more, yeah, got a more enjoying back of doing sports, and
Ah,
through that I decided then, oh yeah, I do one more year. I do one more year, and then Uwe came, and he brought, yeah, new kind of a new wind in the team. Like he changed a few things. It was for all our team. Everybody knew, okay, this is just for 1 year. Ralph takes a break. We do it just for 1 year with Uwe. Uwe news, okay, just 1 year. Nice, everybody knows. And so he could also like try something out, and everything worked so well. Like we were such a great team. The team vibe of 2017, 2018, I have never had before. Maybe 2015 with this four, but
yeah,
apart from that, it was an amazing feeling. And of course, like in this year, we finished fifth at the trials and we got a spot in the age. So it was, of course, yeah, could have also been to do with the new coach, so that he gave us a chance. He said, okay, we try things out. Of course, we also want to have a core eight who trains the whole winter together.
yeah.
So the tactic he used was, yeah, played out, and luckily I was a part of it.
Wow, and that was an amazing season. It's interesting
Yes,
to hear you talk about the atmosphere because you had I think you won at Henley that year.
yes, yes,
You beat the British eight in the was it in the final, was it? You beat the British in the final of the Grand that year,
yes. I think so. Yeah.
and
I don't know if it
then
was 2017 or 2018. to be honest. But it was 2017, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it might have been 2017.
So long ago.
And then you had quite a close race at Lucerne, didn't you?
Yes, Lucerne was always quite close races. Yeah,
Yeah,
with the Australians in that year and 2018 too. Yeah.
yeah. And then, of course, you became world champion in 2017, but also with the world's best time, which is, I think, it's a record that still stands.
Yes. Yes.
So you are the current holder of the world's best time. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Let's hear it for that. What do you remember about that championships, Max?
The World Championships in
Yeah,
2017.
yeah,
Oh, amazing. I mean, we had the whole season and we were kind of riding a wave, you know? It was like, well, from race to race, um, always such a big gap between us and the rest of the field. In training, working hard, Martin telling us every day we have to work harder, we don't have to rest, we have to work harder. We were so focused and we were really a good team. And coming to that World Championships, everybody knew that the rest of the season wouldn't matter if we would like not succeed now. So
yeah.
we, of course, also felt a little pressure. And then our boat didn't came. Like we had trouble with the container from Germany, and then we trained a
Oh,
little.
because of the hurricane.
Yeah, I think so, exactly. And then we trained a few days with a boat from a school or something. But yeah, everything like we managed it as a team very well. Also together with Uwe, we were such a great team. And yeah, and then also we brought it down in the final when it counted. So yes, it was
Yeah,
a nice experience.
it was a pretty good race.
Yes.
And I guess being world champion and having the medal was everything you expected it would feel like.
Like 20 it was also very different 2017, 2018.
Oh, tell me about it.
2017, it was pure joy. It was like it was so amazing, and I also thought, "Oh my god, everything now comes down, everything like every stroke I did on the erg or on a rowing boat before, now I know why I did it." It was so amazing. And 2018, it was more like the whole season we had this kind of pressure, you know, to be the hunted guys, to
Yeah,
be like the favorites. And at the World Championships as well, we had there was so much pressure because yeah, it was like expecting that we would win. Um, and there it was just like a big relief, like you know, it was like,
yeah,
oh, okay, we did it. Whew. It was a completely different feeling. It's still nice, of course, but completely different than 2017.
yeah. And that row in 2017 where you set the world's best time,
That was in Poznan. Yeah,
yeah, in
yeah.
Poznan, is that the best row that you've ever had in the German eight, or was there a different row that was you where things
Mm,
just went? Did that row everything click just right?
from my feeling,
Yeah.
we had quite a few races that were really really good and really nice fun feeling. Um, and one other race I really remember as it was yesterday was the race in Poznan, the final, because yeah, as I said, we had so much pressure and we had this 5 days of no race between the heat and the final. We knew I think the Americans were a little bit faster in the other heat.
Oh, in Plovdiv, not Poznan.
Yeah, Plovdiv,
Yeah,
yes, in
yeah,
Plovdiv, and the Americans were faster and everything, and so we were really like we had a big tension, but also good focus. And in that race, it was so crazy. Nobody of us expected we would be in front at the 1,000 meter mark for more than a length, and it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling because you know it was kind of for me like I'm into mental stuff, you know.
yeah.
Uh, it was a feeling. It was the greatest feeling of a flow state I ever had. It
Wow,
was an
really?
absolutely flow feeling. It was a feeling that like everybody is so connected. Like we were sitting in a boat, but I felt that we were one. It was a connection between everybody, and the movements were just like I get goosebumps when I talk about it. The
Wow.
movements were just appearing. No, like it was a feeling like it was just we're just doing it, um, and then we were in front by such a big gap, and boy, that yeah, I remember that. I'd like to remember that moment. So that was even more like this from the feeling side. It was even better than the race we finished the world best
Yeah,
time because there, yeah, yeah. of course, the wind conditions were probably a bit better in that day, but the other thing was more pressure because it was World Championships and everybody was more excited.
Can you put your finger on any reasons why you had that feeling of a flow state and the crew felt so good then? Why in that race in particular things were set up? Is there anything you can, any reasons or factors you can point to?
Mm, yeah, as I said, like I think there was a big pressure on us, but we could handle it because we were already together for 2 years as a crew. It's exactly the same crew, so everybody know each other. Everybody knew what's going on. Martin, yeah, best cox ever. He did such a good job, and we were, yeah, it was on point, and everybody was really, yeah, really scared also of the race. Like everybody was like, "Ooh," but we knew what to do. And then we did it. And I think, yeah, all came down to this day. So after this 2 years, yeah, unfortunately, after the year after the eight got, yeah, a few spots got changed. I got out and everything. So, but from a feeling, it was like ending a chapter.
Yeah.
And, um, and then also, yeah, technically, then the conditions were good. And also, we were in the middle of the field. Every other boats were left and right from us. And yeah, I think we were just good prepared for that day. And yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes there are moments when it happens,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. And
it just happened on that day. Like,
you
yeah,
mentioned Martin Sauer, great cox. I mean, what is it that makes him such a great cox? Because he's now retired, and of course, the German eight don't have Martin in the stern of the boat anymore. So,
yes.
what is it about Martin that really makes him stand out?
I think he's in a good way. He's crazy.
Yeah,
I say in a good way because he is absolutely obsessed with rowing and rowing technique and everything. And he would always do, like, he puts the success of the crew on the first, like, really on top. Like, also before, like, for example, he's telling always the truth. He's trying to say the truth. He's trying to, like, Max, uh, what you're doing right now is shit. Have to put your hands out faster, and if you don't do it now, blah blah blah. He's kind of hard, but and then in the same time, he's also telling it if it works out, if it's good in the training. And he is like a coach. Like, if he sits in the boat, he coaches the eight. And he said so many things during a training session you can't imagine. Like, he's constantly talking. And if the coach from the side, like, if he hears that Ralph or Uwe was saying something from the motorboat, he just stop because he heard, oh, the trainer's telling us
yeah,
something. But then afterwards, he was talking again, and he had such a good feeling. He was sitting in the boat, and he had such a good feeling of how everybody is doing the row. Like, he could feel if the bowman or me at the free seat or somebody is rolling a little bit too early or too late, on to the front, or, like, he could feel everything. And he also said it, and yeah. So that's, I think, I have never sitting in a boat with another cox like that. And also when I talk to the other crews of the other countries, it's definitely quite different. So, in my opinion, he was the best best cox in his area, in his era, but at least, but maybe of all time.
um, Cam Keelty, who's watching, has sent in a question. Thanks, Cam. Really appreciate that question. And he's asked, what was it like to have Richard Schmidt in the boat with all his experience? Of course, he won Olympic gold medal in London in 2012 as part of that eight, and he was in your eights 2017 and 2018 and 2014. I guess he must have been in that eight too. So
Yes, he was.
talk
He was.
talk a bit about Richard Schmidt and
He would never say that himself because he's so humble, but of course is also one of the best German sweep rowers ever. And to have him in the team was amazing because he was a leader, not only with his words, but also with his kind of rowing, his technique, his physics. He was the top guy in the team. But he would always also try to be try to stay the good leader. You know, he was trying to help us younger guys. He was always keeping an eye on everybody, and he stayed. You know, he stayed with his feet on the ground. He was never like, oh, I'm here the best, and you're not good. No, he was never like that. So, and I remember one particular situation, which probably explains Richard Schmidt the best. That was 2017. It was our first international race. It was in Račice in Czech Republic,
Yeah.
and it was the European Championships, I guess.
Europeans. Yeah.
And nobody of us knew like nobody of us knew how good we are. Like nobody of us like we have no clue how we could finish. And he was like standing there and talking to us. I think one day before the race, and saying, "Guys, what we did in the last weeks and months, I have a really, really good feeling that we can really perform well here." And then he was giving his whole trust, and with his whole experience, he was giving us his trust that we are a good crew and we can really handle that and we can really have a good race. And his feeling was right. So we did we finished, I don't know, with 2 lengths in front or something. We were so good in that race. And but he also knows when to open his mouth and say a few things to the team. So it was a great experience to row with him. And of course, also from the effort he puts in the stroke, to have someone like him in the boat is always good.
Yeah. One of the things about watching the German 8 would be that it wouldn't necessarily be in the front in the first 200 meters, but after 200, 250 meters, those green bows would always hit the front. I mean,
Yeah.
what did you do? How did you train? How did you get that speed? Because sometimes I think when other countries, like maybe the British, would try to do the same, they would go harder, but it would not be as fluid and as relaxed, and they wouldn't find the same speed. So how did you manage to do that?
It's a good question, because I think we didn't really practice so many starts or like first 500s in training.
Really?
Absolutely not. Like it was, I think why it happened that we were always so fast in the first 500 or 750 was more the technique. Like I think that we were having a very fluent technique, and that helped us to increase that kind of speed in that part of the race. So that's what I can imagine if I look also if I watch the races and see us or the other crews, that it was more about the kind of technique we had as a German 8. So like
Yeah.
typically what we are doing typically in training to connect the dots in the stroke.
Yeah. And I think one of the compliments about the German 8, and I was talking to Mike Tatey, who I think you might know the name. He coached the
Of
American
course.
8 that you raced, yeah.
Yeah.
And the 8 that won in Athens in 2004. And I remember saying, what do you like to do when you get down to the rowing course? And he said, the best thing I like to do is to sit there and watch the German 8 paddling.
Thanks. That's a good compliment. I never heard it before, but yeah. And also he's one of the best coaches out there. So lucky to hear that.
So, in 2019, you didn't manage to make the 8. I mean, how close was it, and what was that like for you?
2019.
So it's in Linz that year.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, the thing. There were some decisions again. We wanted to put Chris in the 8, but there were also a few other guys who could have got the spot. So I think, of course, it was a close and tough decision again, but it was okay. So yeah, it was okay. Of course, we were still disappointed, but we managed also again, like 2015, to make the click in the mind and say, okay, then we do the 4. And then we had a very good season in the 4 until the World Championships came. And again, yeah, unlucky, some bad wind conditions for us in the semifinals. So we were not in the best shape on that weekend or in that week.
Ah,
And then we had in the B final bad wind conditions and one of the not good lanes. And then, yeah, that was a huge disappointment, of course, because we knew that trying to qualify the 4 over the qualification regatta will become very tough. Yeah, as it was then also. So yeah, the season itself in the 4, we had very good moments, but yeah, World Championships not.
yeah.
Yeah.
What you talk about the qualification regatta? What's it like competing in that regatta, Max?
Probably from your mindset, it's one of the hardest things you can do because they're like the level of like the the performance level of the crews for all other crews is very high. It's always very close races, very tough, and these are all crews that aren't yet qualified, but still have a very good shape at that point of time. So it was very tough to race there, and yeah, the Regatta of Death is a good name for it, I would say, as a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that regatta? Did you know after that result you think right now that's it for me, or did you go back home and think a bit, or how did the decision to stop rowing?
Yeah, I mean, subconsciously, probably I knew it, but of course, I gave myself a few more weeks to process, to think about everything, and after my long career, at first rest a bit and see what's going on. But subconsciously, I already knew, and then it come more and more, and a few, like I don't know, 2 or 3 months later, I was very sure, and yeah, so it was a process, and yeah, I thought that after qualification regatta, or yeah, after that race, n- don't matter if we would finish, if we would succeed or if we would fail, but I thought that after I got a
Mm,
kind of a relief, but it was still challenging for me and was a hard time, and I needed more time. And also after the kidney failure, and the comeback took me much energy. And because I always knew I would never do something like this year off and then come back,
yeah,
because I knew that this is one of the hardest things you can do, and I knew, okay, no, I won't do that. I will either stick to it or just leave it. And yeah, then the kidney failure came. I was out for a few months, but yeah, was still okay. We had the Europeans in that year in October, so still a competition there. Yeah, but after the qualification, I was, yeah, really, yeah, my body felt it needed a big long break, and probably as so long that I would have to retire. Yeah,
yeah. So I think a lot of other German rowers from the 8 that won the silver medal uh, had maybe similar thoughts, because we talked about Richard Schmidt, he retired, Hannes Ocek stepped out of the sport,
yeah,
Malte Jacek, Jakob Schneider, some big names from that boat, Martin Sauer, of course,
yeah.
and German rowing had to do without them. So what was your view of that big change?
Yeah, it was a big change, and I think also like the COVID situation, with all the training, the erg on they had to train with the erg on their balcony, and all that kind of stuff. It was such a tough year. Like this extended Olympic cycle was so tough for everybody, and especially for the guys who already were thinking about retiring, like even not maybe knowing, but just thinking about it. Like,
Yeah,
and then like it got longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, and I think that, yeah, made it, yeah, or that, yeah, that's why it came to the decision of so many guys to retire after the Olympics. So it was a long, hard time for everybody, and I think they were all happy with winning a medal and ending this chapter with an Olympic silver medal. So that it all paid out for them.
Now, of course, then the 2022 season started, and you came into the season. You were the host of the European Championships around the course and interacting with the crowd. But that was an extremely disappointing home championships for the German team.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
when you look at that, what are you thinking, or what
Yeah,
reasons?
I mean, for me, I was like, I think, I don't know, 1 or 2 months before, I got a call from the organizing committee, and they were saying, "Oh, Max, do you want to be the host? A little getting the crowd engaged and everything on the grandstands." And I was like, "Oh yeah, why not? It's a good idea to get back into rowing on a different perspective." And also to see some of the guys I'm still friends with, for example, Thijs Hagemeister in the German men's four. We're very good friends. And so I thought, okay, let's see. And of course, I informed myself also before got back in to see how the guys are doing, and also I called a few people. So I already got a feeling that it wouldn't be the best results for the Germans, but I think, yeah, I mean, it was weird situation because it was in Germany and the grandstands were full. I mean, you
Yeah,
also remember it was such a good atmosphere.
yeah, it was.
Oh my god! And then unfortunately, they didn't really finish well. And yeah, of course, also for me from the side, it was not easy to see. But yeah, I tried my best in my job to stay neutral,
Yeah,
and also, of course, I was happy for a few friends of other countries who finished well. For example, Nicky van Sprang, my good friend in the Dutch men's age.
oh yeah,
And you know, I was then happy for him, of course, because he also had a long time, of struggling, and he has also had ups and downs a few. And to see him finish and with a new build eight and this comeback in that race, amazing.
yeah,
So I talked to a lot to other guys from also the Italians with their third place, and so yeah, I tried to stay neutral, but of course I saw that there's something going on in the German Rowing Federation, and that the fact that a lot of guys, not only from the men's sweep team, but also from other teams, like the women's squad and everything, retired or took a break year. This fact, and then the condition of the structure in the federation together made this result, and also the result of
ah.
the World Championship. So, yeah, it was kind of a lot of big things coming together, and then yeah,
So,
unfortunately,
so
there's a lot
maybe,
of stuff to do for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, maybe we can talk a bit about what's going on with the German Federation
Mhm.
to cause the problems.
Mhm. Yeah, also, so I'm not that involved anymore. So I can't really say, or I have to say before that this is my
Opinion.
opinion or
Yeah,
my viewpoint from staying in Amsterdam and just following the media, or sometimes calling a few people to hear what's going on. So I'm not really involved in all that kind of topics. But as I said, I think it's like a combination. And one of the things before is that the last years, um, yeah, they were like kind of, it was like a process of, yeah, not really having a good structure at some point, or also some differences between athletes and coaches and athletes and the federation, because the federation wants to concentrate the people on 1 or 2 training centers, and athletes don't want to. And you know, there's so many politics going on, and so many opinions. And on the long run, this never this is never good if you don't really pull on one string
yeah, yeah,
together.
yeah.
And I had this feeling was, this was going for a long time, but there was still in the separate groups, there was still like the rowers who were experienced, who knew what to do and everything, and the structure was kind of still there. But with this, a lot of people who were retired, you saw that, oh, between under 23 and A level, hmm, we didn't really try to build things up. You know, for example, when I got into when I got to the training center in Dortmund in 2012,
Yeah.
I was an under 23 rower still, and there was already were like, for example, training together with the men's sweep at some, like with the a like with the guys from the German aid at
Yeah,
sometimes. Of course, not every training session, but there were particular training sessions where, for example, we did a sparring in the boats together or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that, or even some days that the coach from the aid came to an under 23 group and see what's going on, and everything. And that kind of, from my in my sense, there was missing in the last years a little bit, that this build up was not really there. And also, of course, with COVID, there was a separate group with just the guys who go
yeah.
to the extended Olympics, and all others had no chance. And for them, of course, it was not easy. You know, if you're a young guy, under 23, you have a good condition, think, oh, like, maybe next year I'm making it, or maybe in 2 years. But then the coach says, "Oh, unfortunately, we have to focus on that, because also, of course, finances and everything. We can't take such a big group to the training camps." Um, so yeah, that was, I think, for a lot of young guys, not very easy to do. I think they still managed it well, so there are still a lot of young guys coming up, but it needs more time now to build that. And yeah, it's very complex, as you hear, and also with the financial structures in the German, or yeah, in the German sports itself, not only rowing. Like,
Yeah.
the financial structures in German sports are quite difficult, um, and there were big reforms in the last years that, yeah, a lot of people like, a lot of people not, and it takes time to adapt it.
I couldn't understand, because I know that two of the guys that were in the 2016 crew, after the Europeans, they didn't go to the Worlds. They dropped.
In the 2021 crew, you mean? Like,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah. You
no.
mean,
In the
yeah, 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 yeah.
2022 crew,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mean Olaf Roggensack
yeah,
and Lauritz Vollert. Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah.
And I thought that's strange that you do the Europeans and then not do the
Yeah, that was
World.
also a thing. There were also some trouble with them, because they are like, I was in the German army, and they are in the German national police. And in the German national police, for the athletes, they have a group, but they have to commit to sticking to a plan, which is like kind of yeah, which is designed for athletes, like also from different other sports. Like, for example, if you do the training there to get a national police officer, it takes, I don't know, 3 years, and for them it takes, I don't know, 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, so it takes longer, but it's a plan, and they have to take courses, they have to do exams, and they had to. I don't exactly know what was wrong there, but there was a conflict between the boss of the German police and our coaches, because of the guys, and the boss of the German police said they have to take this course, or they have to do this exam. I'm not sure what it was, but they have to do it.
yeah.
And it was in the time of the World Championships, so that's why they couldn't go, unfortunately.
So, do you know what's happening with the German eight? Is anybody coming back next year to race in the German eight, or will it be the same personnel from the crew that finished in seventh place this year?
I mean, of course, Lauritz and Olaf, who are like very strong guys, who are not in with the World Championships, they will be back in, I'm sure. And also Hannes Ocik will come back in
Yeah,
the eight. So I think the
uh,
fundament for a way better, yeah, way better performance will be there. Still a lot of work to do, but I'm confident that they will be at least candidates for a medal again.
yeah, because the eight need, is it fifth place? The eight needs to finish to qualify for the Olympics this year.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's like a big
It's a challenge, but
challenge.
that's a challenge. But I think they have a lot of young guys in the crew also, who still, like, developing also their physical condition, getting better, and um, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm yeah, they
and
will play a role again. They will play a role again to come into the final. And if you're in the final, of course you also have the chance to qualify.
we've got another question from
Hmm.
TM. So the German Federation has always prioritised the eight. So, any thoughts about prioritising smaller boats?
That's a good question. That's a very, very good question. I can't really answer it because, yeah, I don't know. Like, the German Rowing Federation, of course, there are some coaches, some staff who's deciding that kind of things. But I think they will stick to the eight because it was always the priority boat in the men's sweep team. And it's kind of, in Germany, you have this kind of, there's the German eight it's a legend. It's a legendary status in Germany. With Karl Adam back in the days, and
Yeah,
then of course 1988 with Ralf Holtmeier as a coach and everything. And it's a myth, German eight is in rowing is of course together maybe right now with Olli Zeidler. It's the most known kind of boat. Like maybe you
yeah,
haven't heard of rowing itself, but you have heard of the Deutsche
yeah,
Nacht. So and that's why there's always like kind of a pressure that German eight has to compete. So that's why I think they will stick to the eight. But I think it's a very good question, and maybe someone reads it and thinks about it.
yeah. Um, how far did Olli Zeidler rescue German rowing by his win in the single sculls at the World Championships?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he was also. I think he did a very good performance. Like it was amazing after the Europeans. Like when he kind
Yeah,
of, yeah, he kind of was done just a few strokes before the finish line, and I remember I was on the grandstands. Everybody was like, "Oh," and coming back from that, and still also with like standing there also in the media and criticizing what's going wrong in the federation in his opinion, like also standing there for the athletes, for the other athletes.
yeah,
He was also criticizing a lot which was had nothing to do with him but just with other guys. So he was really like yeah, taking his heart in the hand and telling the truth in his opinion. Of course, and that's put on your own neck. It puts a lot of pressure, and
yeah,
I'm really amazed how he did it and how he also managed it and to the World Championships to have such an amazing performance there. And also speaking out before the race, and also his coach is that like speaking out before the race, we will win today. I mean, it's amazing. So he did a
yeah.
very good job, and of course, it's the light at the end of the tunnel of the German Rowing Federation right now, or the star on the horizon.
Yeah, and to your point about the importance of the mind in rowing, at the end of the race, he kind of tapped his head like that,
Yeah.
as if to say mentally he had sorted his stuff out, sorted his shit out.
Yes. I think I would have to call him to ask him about it, but I just texted him a few weeks after the race to congratulate him, and he also just replied once, and so I didn't really talk to him that much about it, but yeah, I think it had to do with it, and he knew that it was about the mind, and I mean, single sculling is like playing tennis. It's all about mind. It's a mind game, and he likes to play that game. He is tough to play that game, and if you see one of like the biggest guys in the eights, like, in the singles guys, like the biggest boys from the years before, like for example Olaf Tufte or Schinek or Hacker or all this kind of guys, they all struggled at some point of time. There was always a
Yeah,
big up and
yeah,
down for them. They also had races where they were completely like smashed and didn't really finish well and everything, but then they all came back and they came back. So it's all a mind game. I think Ollie still, nevertheless, of his race in at the Europeans, but he is very constant with his performances, which is outstanding to me. I think
yeah,
in the
yeah,
singles guy.
yeah. Um, Now, of course, you are a successful coach. How did you decide? Did you always know you wanted to be a coach, or was that a difficult decision for you? Did you have many options? And how did this? How did you go about? Because you have to make a whole business for yourself. How did you go about doing this?
Yes, that's a good question. I mean, I studied journalism, so I wanted to become a journalist at first. when I was a child, I always watched football, football games with my dad or my granddad at home, and we put the sound off, and I was commentating. So it was like always like, oh yeah, into sports, into speaking, into communicating. So that's why I studied journalism, and I thought, oh yeah, and it was a thing for me to try this out. And I also did a 1 year of internship at the radio station, learned a few things there. Um, yeah, but like over the things I talked in the earlier stage of our talk today, when I said like the stuff which was going on after Rio, like when I got into all this mind stuff, like more and more deeper with mentality, meditation, breath work, and all that kind of things, I got more and more a sense how it changed myself, how it changed my um, my inner peace and my
Yeah.
um, my equanimity and how I tackle challenges in life. Before I was, I mean, before it was still fine, but it was always like this mentally. It was always more up and down mentally, and kind of like my emotions dragged me in some directions, and I didn't really have the sense of how I could take ownership of the emotions. And if the emotion comes up, I just breathe and let it flow through myself, how I do
Wow.
it now. So I developed skills by myself, together with Carsten, together with our very, very good psychologists of the German rowing team, Annelien. They really helped me for myself to become mentally stronger, also for rowing, but also for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. And to see this process in myself, how I changed, I couldn't do anything else than do coaching and teach that to other people, because it had
Ah.
such a big impact on my life. It was amazing, really. I mean, it had such a big impact on, like, if you let go of inner belief structures that are subconsciously all the time there and all the time putting you down. For example, if you have a bad day or whatever, and if you can take control of it, you can let them go. You can apply new good beliefs, or also, as I said, dealing with emotions and all that kind of stuff. Um, that's when I thought, over the last years I developed more and more the thought, oh, that's could be something for me to do. And yeah, then I, after retired, I decided I wanted to give it a shot. And of course it also has to do that I have to do my own business, and I had
Yeah.
no clue when I started how to do a business. And now it's like, after, I started at the beginning of the year. And yeah, for me, it's kind of like I can also transfer a lot of things of rowing already to it.
Really.
Like, definitely, like, I mean, like this, you know, the discipline, also the motivation, the focus. I can also the goal setting. I have to set my goals, my own goals now, and I have to, of course, structure everything more. But also to let my business grow is kind of that process, like in rowing. It's a long process. You need time, you need to stay calm and keep do the work, and then apply more and more steps towards your goal. And that's what I'm doing now. And I get more and more into it, and it's fun. So it's, of course, there were also already tough moments, but
Yeah.
then again I can see, oh nice, what can I learn here, and how can I can this help me to develop myself? And so it's kind of an inner development, and the results I see immediately, also with my business. And so it's just the beginning of hopefully something big.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
say, in
yeah,
terms of stepping into coaching,
yeah,
because I do some coaching, and you learn as much as you're helping other people, you're also learning about yourself at the same time.
exactly,
So
exactly.
there's that dynamic in
Exactly. I love
in the
that. And I also love it if I see like like how my clients are changing through their time working with me. It's always such a like wow, such an amazing feeling. And I always say, like, I'm just a mirror. I'm holding the mirror for them, because I ask
ah
questions, I do coaching tools, techniques, emotional techniques, and everything. But I'm just holding the space, holding the mirror, and while holding the mirror, it also mirrors me. It's like there are always coming people to me who going through some stuff I went through before. and it reminds me of my own things and also gives me new perspective on my own life. So yeah, as you say, it's also nice for yourself.
So you sound very hopeful about your future and the future of your coaching business, and that
Yes,
it's going very much in the right
I'm
direction.
optimistic.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
And I think, to listen to you in terms of your career, it's because you've had to cope with challenges
yes,
that your
yes,
life has been so
absolutely,
rich.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I was always questioning myself when I was in rowing, like, why am I the guy who has this whole ups and downs here? Uh, but yeah, when it came to the end of my career, like the last years, more and more, and I got into all that kind of stuff, I got a sense of, wow, every struggle I went through not only helps me to be more fulfilled, but also can help others to be more fulfilled. And in 2019, I started already a podcast in Germany, just like without this, without the sense of doing coachings at some point. It was
Yeah.
just about like delivering, telling my story, telling the people what struggles I went through, and like also motivating them to show them, guys, I started with zero. I had my bench press PB was 35 kilo when I started with professional training. You know, and it didn't matter, and I just went through all that stuff, and yeah, and I showed that in my podcast, and that also was fun. And then also people sent me emails and said, "Oh, Mac, thanks for this episode. It really helped me." And um, yeah.
And if people listening to this would like to contact you for some support or some
Mhm.
help, how should they do that?
Um, the easiest way, of course, like just send me a text on Instagram, for example, or going on my website, maxplaner.com, also very easy.
Yeah.
And then you just click on the button and you can, I mean, it's in Germany, but everybody will find it. There are big orange buttons where you just can click, and then you can send me a WhatsApp. So very easy to contact me. And then we just do a easy and free talk about everything. No charge for that. And then we can see if I can help you.
Wow. That sounds awesome. Um,
You
and
should do it.
yeah,
Just kidding.
definitely. Will you be at all around Paris or not for the Olympics? Are you hoping
Oh,
to attend?
good question. Um, I'd like to be. I'd like to be. I think, um, of course, let's see. When there are some spots for commentating, I mean,
Yeah.
it was such a good fun to be at the Europeans as a host. But so I got a little sense of how it is to be, yeah, on the side, not rowing. You know, there were so many people asking me, Max, do you miss it to be on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
boat? And I said, no, I'd like to stand here. I know it's less painful. I just have to talk. So I really liked it. I really enjoyed it, and um, I couldn't imagine it right after I retired. But then, as time got on and everything developed, and then I got a sense of, yeah, I tried to do it, and so now I'm very open also to, yeah, to commentate, to be there, to support and everything, because it's great fun to be still involved in everything, and something I think I can do on the side of my coaching. So
Wow.
yes, if you
That's
have a spot
fantastic.
left in the commentating team, just
Yeah.
give me a call.
You would
Yes,
be fantastic at that. You'd be a natural, Max. That would be great.
thank you so much.
We've been talking for well over an hour now. It's been great. I've enjoyed every minute of it,
Me too.
and it's it's been a fantastic experience. We'll end the live part of this broadcast here, folks. Thanks for watching. But from me, Crossy, and from Max, it's goodbye and see you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.